Yo, gather around, I got a story to tell. Gather around, I got a story to tell. Today's story had taken place when I was on Rikers Island. And I don't want to say exactly where I was at, but I was on Rikers Island, and it was around 10 o'clock at night. We were watching the news. The news is big on Rikers Island because we watch the news not only to keep us abreast about current affairs, but we don't want to see like one of our loved ones on the news being killed, stabbed, robbed, or whatever. So that's big to people that's in prison. Like, people in prison tune into the news heavily. And we watching the news, and it was breaking news. It was like 10, 12 guys around the television. Breaking news. It was a projects in New York City. This is where the news was coming from. The news reporter was in the projects explaining about someone that was just killed. And one of my dudes that was watching the news was pointing like, I know that person. I know this person. Oh, this is my hood. So we like, oh, all right. And when they flashed the picture of the woman, it was a woman that was killed, he started screaming instantly, top of his lungs, screaming. So everybody like confused and like, yo, what's up? You good? Yo, what's going on? And he couldn't get the words out at first, but he like, that's my baby mom's. Like, he hyperventilating, like she was shot and killed. He was screaming at the top of his lungs. It was a sad day because this particular guy was liked by everybody. And they was explaining what happened. So I guess two people, it was like young kids shooting at each other, and I'm not gonna say kids, but like young men, 20, 21-year-old people shooting at each other, and innocent bystander was shot accidentally in the head, I guess, in a crossfire, and that woman was his baby mother. So they actually, the shooters were arrested on site. So they even show like, you know, them being cuffed or whatever, and people were like, damn, trying to console him. The correction officer came out the bubble and was talking to him, but there was no administration there at night, like psychologist or something like that. So he had to go back into his cell with that, like, you know, my baby mom just died. So the next day, he went to a psych or whatever, and, you know, sought counsel and things like that from the administration to set up funeral arrangements with the family. They gave him like a 2-hour phone call for free for him to get his things in order or whatever, right? So that same night, I kid you not, that same night, after we was all locked in, because back then we locked in at around 10:45, so it was around like 11:45, 11:50, and on Rikers Island, it's not unusual for them to bring new prisoners into the cell block. So they brought somebody new into the cell block, and one of my mans, he had perfect memory. He spotted the dude that actually was on the TV screen being accused of killing my man baby mother. He's like, yo, that's that kid. He told me, like, yo, S, that's that kid. I'm like, I couldn't remember, you know, they flashed the shit so quick, right? And I'm like, I don't know, man. You know, he like, I'm telling you, that's that kid. He got, because he had on the same exact outfit. You know, when they arrest you, they don't give you new clothes. You go through the system with the same clothes. So I'm like, I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? So a couple dudes heard what my man told me and was like, trying to talk to the kid. Like, what's up? What you here for? What you know? So I guess word got back to the dude, you know, who baby mom was killed. Like, yo, that nigga in the house. Like, he just pulled up. Dude started screaming at the top of his lungs again, but other cats are telling him, like, no, calm down, chill. Like, wait till the morning time when they open up the cells, and then if you want to, you know, get busy or do whatever you got to do, then you got ample opportunity. But if you screaming, you're going to blow it up. It's like you pulling a stunt. Dude couldn't hold his emotions back. He's screaming, telling him how much he's going to kill him. And we still don't know that it's the same guy that killed his baby mother, right? But the guy was like, yo, it was an accident. It was an accident. So that's confirmation. Oh, it really was him. And dude kept screaming at the top of his lungs. And once the CO got a whiff of what was going on, they actually moved that dude. So that dude got moved to a protective custody, involuntary protective custody, because of the death threats that was being sent his way. You know, so I say all that to say, I'm telling this story because you got to be careful what you do to people out here on these streets, right? Because that shit follow you when you go to prison. And a lot of you guys out here, y'all doing things to people, and y'all think that that's what it's going to be. Like, that's it. Ain't nothing gonna happen afterwards. But yo, I know people who got into situations from the street, and them problems lasted 20 years in jail. That person had to defend his decision for killing someone or whatever the situation was for 20 years because the ops wouldn't let the beef die. You know what I'm saying? So be careful who you do something to. If you don't want 20-year, 25-year beef, just think ahead. That's all I'm saying, you know? And with that being said, I'm going. I love y'all. Peace.